Tonight on Kronite News, there will be a new champion crowned in men's college basketball as Purdue takes on UConn for a chance to be cemented into the history books.
Plus, fans enjoyed the Final Four activities held in downtown Phoenix as they flocked to the Fan Fest.
And a new bill was signed today aimed at protecting the elderly in assisted living care.
State Farm Stadium in Glendale is the site for tonight's championship matchup where two #1 seeds, Purdue, UConn, will battle it out for the trophy.
Good evening and welcome to Kronite News. I'm Ethan Tuttle.
And I'm Eric Liss. Thank you for joining us.
Purdue and UConn have been two of the top teams in the country all year, and you can see why, as they share only 7 losses between them. Both teams have played great opponents so far in the tournament, but will now have the biggest matchup of the year tonight.
And both fans for Purdue and UConn lined up early at State Farm Stadium. Purdue fans arrived in big numbers for the Final Four matchup with NC State and will look to have impacts with their energy on tonight's championship game.
Our Sammy Miller has been covering the madness all weekend long at State Farm Stadium and now joins us to preview the national championship game.
Sammy, I can only imagine the place will be packed with fans here before tip-off.
Eric, the energy outside of State Farm Stadium was already incredible. And let's just say there are a lot of Purdue fans. But after all of the madness, upsets, twists, and turns, we have 2 of the top 3 teams in the country battling it out for that one shining moment. A heavyweight battle between the 2 top seeds, UConn and Purdue. The Boilermakers kept their March Madness dreams alive after taking care of business against NC State, and now it's the first time in 55 years that they are 40 minutes away from possibly raising the championship trophy.
The most important team is your team. I think anybody would say that at this point, but UConn is a very, very good basketball team, very good defensively, run a lot of really good stuff offensively, probably going to steal a couple things. I'm going to steal a couple things for next year, but he's just done a phenomenal job, you know, to win the national championship and then to be back in this position. I think there's a lot of things that come with ultimate success that's hard to do what they've been able to do.
The team standing in their way is none other than the Huskies, who continued their dominant tournament run as they took down Alabama and are now one step closer to one of the hardest feats to accomplish in all of sports, winning back-to-back national championships.
You know, playing certain programs, it's feels like a privilege because of what they stand for, how they do it, and how good they are. So to be able to play the national championship versus Purdue. And how good they are and how Matt runs things. It's a real privilege to play them for the championship.
All eyes are on the big matchup in the paint with the 2 giants, one being UConn's 7'2" Donovan Klinging that fans have nicknamed Kling Kong, and he is up against Purdue's 7'4" Zach Edey, or better known as the Big Maple. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to stop either one of them, but what I am saying is that you have to try to contain them as best as you can and limit their offensive production. Now, will UConn go back-to-back as national champs, or will Purdue win their first ever national championship title in program history? That's the million-dollar question that will be answered tonight. In Glendale, Sammy Miller, Kronite News.
This matchup should be one for the ages in Glendale and could go down to the wire tonight. With so much attention focused around the actual games taking place in the men's Final Four, some fans need a way to relax in a stress-free environment. That's the exact atmosphere that the Final Four Fan Fest has provided. The Fan Fest, hosted at the downtown Phoenix Convention Center, has several different activities and tents for basketball enthusiasts to enjoy. But basketball is just a sliver of what the event offers, as there are several other activities to enjoy and engage in. The event has also featured top college basketball figures throughout the week. Some fans are understandably focused on their team in the run to the national title, but the Fan Fest allows for a relaxing break from the action on the court.
Well, we just did the vertical jump, and that was really fun. But honestly, just the whole environment, I've been seeing all the teams, everyone here, you know. I saw a dude that I hadn't seen since I was in Boy Scouts with him. It's just a great environment. It's really fun to be here.
In addition to all the Final Four festivities, the celebration of basketball in the Valley also brings out some of the country's best sharpshooters and high flyers to participate in the State Farm College Slam Dunk and 3-Point Championships. Our Danny Sullivan was on the scene and has more from Phoenix.
Grand Canyon University, the home of college basketball's biggest party, put on quite the season finale as they played host to the 35th annual College Slam and three-point contest, all while catching the attention of a new March legend.
I can only imagine what it's like in here for a home game, especially against rivals. Like, this place is really awesome. I think it'll be a tremendous place to play, especially for Gabe to live out his whole career here. That's got to be awesome, man.
The sharp shooting and high-flying dunks created an unmatched energy in the arena, started off by Arizona forward Keyshawn Johnson, whose night didn't go exactly as planned.
I went first, sometimes when you go first, you got to set the tone, but the judges also got to leave some room for the group of next, so I think they just judged me a little too hard for the first dunk, but it's all good.
With some of the best talent in the country on full display, it was none other than GCU's very own Gabe McLaughlin, who stole the show and gave fans a night to remember.
If it goes in, it goes in. If not, I'm just blessed for the opportunity. So it's so be it moment, and that piece and that just giving it to him turned out like that. And that's why the first thing I grabbed was my Bible, because this is literally everything to me. Lord be nothing.
McLaughlin was joined in the winner's circle by women's three-point winner Sarah Scalia, as well as men's three-point and champions contest winner Keisei Tominaga. In Phoenix, Danny Sullivan, Kronite News.
What a cool way for Gabe McLaughlin to close out his time at GCU and give those great fans an amazing farewell after all his years. The men's Final Four also brings with it the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Yeah, the 2024 class had several members with ties to the Valley. Among those honored were former Suns players Walter Davis and Vince Carter, along with Doug Collins, who was an Arizona State assistant coach for 2 seasons in the early 1980s. Davis, who passed away last year, is the Suns' all-time leading scorer, a 6-time NBA All-Star, 1978 NBA Rookie of the Year, but his daughter most remembers his generous spirit.
The main thing I remember about him is after games, and he would always stop and sign autographs for at least an hour. Never wanted to rush out. He was happy to talk with the fans and talk with people, and so that's the one thing I remember the most, was just being so proud that he didn't brush anybody aside, and he was happy to sign those autographs and be with his fans after games. So.
We're not done with the Final Four just yet, Eric.
Yeah, Ethan, after the break, let's head back to the Fan Fest for more inside looks at just how fans can enjoy the Final Four experience while the players are off the court.
And a big warm-up is headed our way, including the possibility of our very first temperature in the 90s so far this year. Your forecast is next.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage.
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to see.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
As journalists at Kronite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles.
In Cleveland. In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia.
From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Kronite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
State Farm Stadium in Glendale is the site for the men's Final Four. UConn faces Purdue in tonight's championship game. And the men's Final Four was not the only thing going on this weekend, Eric. Of course, the women's Final Four took place this past Friday and Sunday in Cleveland.
Yeah, Ethan, the likes of Caitlin Clark, Paige Becker, and others showed out and made some very exciting games. The championship game was a battle between South Carolina and Iowa. Clark was looking to put a storybook ending to her amazing season, but she and Iowa came up just a bit short, losing 87-75. USC were led by Camila Cardoso, who had 15 points and 17 rebounds. Post-game, Dawn Staley had this to say about Clark and her impact on the game.
I want to personally thank Caitlin Clark for lifting up our sport. Is not going to stop here on the collegiate tour, but when she is the #1 pick in the WNBA draft, she's gonna lift that league up as well. So Caitlin Clark, if you're out there, you are one of the GOATs of our games, and we appreciate you.
Couldn't say it any better myself. Well, fans from all across the nation gathered together inside the Phoenix Convention Center for the Final Four Fan Fest. Kronite sports reporter Alex DaCosta has the story.
If there's something the city of Phoenix excels at, it is hosting extraordinary events for its community. The Final Four Fan Fest brought locals and out-of-towners to the 4-day extravaganza.
1, 2, 3, 4!
All the way from Connecticut, the Heyer family altered their plans around making it to the Final Four.
I think Phoenix is an awesome city to do it in. It's the perfect spot. It's got all the infrastructure. He had spring break, but we had high hopes that they would, so we made plans a couple weeks ago.
Arizona resident Gage Overcash was shocked to see the huge turnout at the event.
I thought it was just gonna be like a hangout where it's like just like basketball. I didn't expect there was like a bunch of things.
The Final Four Fan Fest has been the hot talk of the entire weekend. Fans from all over gathered to meet their favorite players and coaches, get to play some exciting games and win prizes, and also show off their shooting skills.
The die-hard fan spirit was radiating through the air the entire weekend. 2 alumni and best friends from Purdue have been waiting for this day to come for years.
This is the first time in our lifetime that we have the opportunity to even see Purdue make it this far, and so yeah, it's like, whether it's realistic or not, Purdue always makes it to the end of my bracket, so it's very exciting to be here.
Arizona sports legends also made an appearance this weekend, with ASU's head basketball coach Bobby Hurley and former Arizona basketball star Mike Bibby. The Final Four Fan Fest is hosting its last day of events today, the day of the championship final. In Phoenix, Alex DaCosta, Kronite News.
Well, it certainly was a beautiful weekend to host the Final Four, but things are really about to warm up.
Yeah, Ethan, this past weekend was so nice, and it's going to continue. Alana Hambro joins us from the Weather Center with what we can expect over the next few days.
Thanks, guys. I hope everyone had an amazing day today, as there have been some amazing events going on with the solar eclipse today at around noon here and the NCAA championship happening later this weekend. These clouds here are not too big of a worry, as we will be inside watching the game. From 74 degrees, we see 76 degrees going into the evening, taking us right into those cooler temperatures. Pay attention here. We can see up north, the Grand Canyon says 25 degrees tomorrow, at Flagstaff 28 degrees, and even 29 degrees in Window Rock with 57 degrees, a little bit warmer in Phoenix. Taking us right into those highs, we can see tomorrow the Grand Canyon jumps up a whole 35 degrees for tomorrow. We see 70 degrees in Sedona and 86 degrees even in Phoenix. Look at all this sunshine. Oh my gosh, there it is. So we see Tuesday, 87 degrees, Wednesday, 89 degrees, and even 94 degrees on Thursday, really making our mark, hitting that 90-degree temps for the first time this season, taking us right into the rest of the weekend with 95 degrees on Friday, 90 degrees Saturday, cooling off a little bit this weekend with 84 degrees Sunday, 77 Monday, and back up again on Tuesday, just in time for some Pats run on Saturday. I'm going to be out there. I better see you out there. From the Kronite Weather Center, I'm Alana Hambro.
Thank you for that. For Alana, I'm Denson Cortez with a preview of the news headlines. Coming up next, a rare celestial event made its way across North America. When we come back, find out how the Dark Sky Discovery Center decided to commemorate this special event.
Three, 2, 1. Kronite News. Get real professional experience in areas such as reporting, broadcast editing, and behind-the-scenes production, such as technical director and audio.
Kill the mics.
or go out in the field and cover important local stories.
To learn and master the English language.
In a fun, welcoming atmosphere. Kronite News. The future starts now.
What Kronite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Kronite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized. Individuals of all walks of life.
Kronite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Kronite.
Welcome back to Kronite News. I'm Denson Cortez here with your news headlines. Many people know what it's like to have someone they care for live in a memory care facility, and it can be scary not knowing what goes on behind closed doors. Reporter Lauren Bly went to a bill signing today that addresses just that.
This legislation is years in the making, prompted by horrific events that occurred against a number of people in memory care facilities.
Today, Governor Hobbs signed HB 2764, a bill that sets training standards for staff who work at facilities that offer memory care services. It will also double the cap on civil penalties from $500 to $1,000 if a facility violates state laws.
Now, families and victims will get the answers they deserve, and we'll be able to stop bad actors from continuing their behavior in an endless cycle. It is impossible to overstate how beneficial this legislation will be for creating a healthier and safer Arizona.
Kathy McDavid Mazur promised to work to make long-term changes after her mother died in a memory care facility.
I lost my sweet, beautiful mother when she was brutally attacked by another resident in the memory care facility where they both resided.
And Dana Kennedy from AARP says the work is not over. There is a group working on other safety issues, including enhancing technology.
I do believe that we need to equip families with the technology to be able to monitor their loved ones in a long-term care facility.
This bill had support from both Republicans and Democrats with only one no vote and goes into effect after June 30th, 2025. In the newsroom, Lauren Bly, Kronite News.
Arizona is seeing yet another multi-billion-dollar investment to semiconductor manufacturing in the valley. The new $6.6 billion in funding comes from the U.S. CHIPS and Science Act. It means the construction of a third chip factory at the TSMC complex in Phoenix. Officials say the Taiwan-based company will be making the most advanced semiconductor chips on the planet right here in our state of Arizona. The governor spoke about its potential impact earlier today.
It means when we talk about manufacturing in America, it means made in Arizona, and it's going to create thousands of jobs for Arizona. It's good paying jobs that don't need a college degree, and we're doing everything we can to increase workforce development to make sure that Arizonans have the skills to take those jobs.
The Biden administration is planning on giving millions of Americans a second chance on student loan forgiveness. The White House plans to target certain groups with the new loan forgiveness, such as people with bigger balances due to interest and people who enrolled in low financial value programs. It can take months before the proposal is finalized. However, the Biden administration has already canceled $146 billion of student debt for 4 million people. And if you looked into the sky today about 11:30 this morning, you probably caught a glimpse of this solar eclipse. Our Zariah Cole joined hundreds of others to watch this celestial phenomenon.
The full solar eclipse, we got to see about 40%. However, it did not stop crowds from gathering in Fountain Hills. Arizona coming from all across the United States.
Today, hundreds of people looked to the skies and then looked to the future as they broke ground for the International Dark Sky Discovery Center. The kickoff was planned during a massive solar eclipse watch party in Fountain Hills. The facility will focus on 4 main topics: education, research, preservation, and tourism.
Really STEM oriented. All of our programs are going to be focused on trying to inspire not only students, which we hope to get on a regular basis for field trips and that type of thing, but also the adults that come through so that they're inspired as well.
The Discovery Center will include a planetarium, observatory, immersion zone, and so much more. Scott Adams, who is a board member of Dark Skies Discovery Center, says 80% of people have lost the night sky to light pollution, which he says affects everything from wildlife to human health. This development is a glimmer of hope.
In the last 20 years, dark skies have become brighter and brighter all the way across the United States. And if you look at a map that shows night sky brightness, there's just a phenomenal change, a phenomenal increase in sky brightness or light pollution.
Hundreds of people came out to the future site today, not for the night sky, but a peek at the sun.
So it's very exciting. And once it starts happening, then it goes quickly. So don't blink.
Today's festival proves sky watching is a huge draw.
Never seen one before. I've never paid attention.
Yeah.
But being here and coming with her, yeah, it's amazing. It really is. Everybody needs to see it once.
The next solar eclipse is way out, not taking place until August 23rd, 2044, with the Dark Sky Discovery Center aiming to be built by mid to late 2025. It will most certainly be an unparalleled place to view the next eclipse. In the newsroom, Zariah Cole, Kronite News.
The things you can buy with $1 are decreasing as 99-cents only stores announced that they will be shutting its doors. There are 371 discount stores across Arizona, California, Texas, and Nevada. The company claims that the closure comes after rising costs and shrink, which is an industry term that includes losses from theft and errors. Financial services company Hilco Global was hired to help liquidate the merchandise and assets of the stores. A wrongful death suit that was filed against Tesla in 2018 is heading to trial. Walter Huang was killed when his Tesla Model X SUV crashed into a concrete barrier on the California highway. The family claims that the company knew the autopilot had flaws, which made it unsafe. The crash sparked investigations by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, which resulted in over 2 million Teslas getting recalled. Tesla has said the autopilot feature is safe. And a new plan unveiled by U.S. lawmakers is proposing to give all Americans a right to online privacy. This plan was announced by Democratic Senator Maria Cantwell and Republican Representative Kathy McMorris Rogers. The goal of the national law would be to regulate how companies can collect, share, and use Americans' online data. Users would be able to also opt out of targeting advertising. That's it for your news headlines, I'm Denson Cortez. Now back to Ethan and Eric.
Thanks, Denson. Up next, hundreds of people get hitched all at once.
That's right. When we return, find out why these couples chose today to say, I do.
What Kronite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Kronite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized, individuals of all walks of life.
Kronite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Kronite.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Welcome back. Passengers on a Southwest flight over the weekend had a few scary moments after one of the engine covers came off the plane.
Yeah, the flight took off from Denver International Airport yesterday, but the plane had to turn around after this happened shortly after takeoff. Thankfully, the plane landed safely and no one on board was hurt. The FAA is now investigating. Finally tonight, millions of people across the country turned out to see today's eclipse.
That's right, Ethan, and several hundred of those people decided to mark the occasion by getting married. In fact, 358 people got hitched today in Russellville, Arkansas. And unlike here in Arizona, the lucky couples got to see the moon completely eclipse the sun. The mass ceremony was held just before the sun was totally blacked out. And though the official name of the event was called Elope at the Eclipse, some think a better name would have been a total eclipse of the heart.
That's it for Kronite News. Thanks for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.